Welcome to the RotoWire DFS show. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Ryan Belongia. Today we are discussing Wednesday's three-game World Cup slate at DraftKings. We currently have the Mexico-Poland game going on right now. It's scoreless slate in the match. Ryan, I guess I want to bring up here. So in the main, $5 single entry double up contest, we saw Christian Eriksen was only 65%. I'm not sure what the reason for it was. What are the thoughts on this? Do you think it's because more people went heavy on France to where like they didn't have enough money to spend on Ericsson, or what was the reason for this?
Well, I mean, it must have been. What else could be the reason? I mean, I don't see how you could ever fade Erickson here. So, like, I guess the reason is just people don't really know what they're doing, which is, we say, and the train didn't play Erickson, right? There's a train that's always in these cash games, and they play, what I would say is suboptimal. And I mean,
Very
optimal lineup, I just don't see how you can ever fade Erickson. I know it's a good spot for France, but it's a good spot for Erickson. And, what did he put up? Like a 19-point floor.
Mm-hmm.
And, he could have done, he could have done better. He didn't even have a goal or an assist. I mean,
right.
Yeah, that's puzzling. You expected it to be 90%, right?
Yeah, at least. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I feel like at the end of our conversation yesterday, in terms of cash games, I was almost leaning on like Christian Eriksen is the must, whereas I would probably put him as a must more than the France guys, just in terms of cash games. But I mean, granted,
pretty much.
We put all the France guys we put Griezmann and Mbappe in our team as well. But
yeah, that's another thing too. We're doing this podcast like, right when the slate comes out. This is the first time I looked at it. Like yesterday, it was the first time I looked at it when we did the podcast, and I said, it might be tough to fit all three of them in, and I don't know, and maybe you can play some Denmark guys. And then, in the morning, I wake up and really spend time on the slate, a couple hours, looking at every player, at every team, finding the leaked lineups, figuring out who's going to start, who I can take a chance on. And then, it became pretty easy to see that you just play the big three and there's going to be enough value, and you don't have to worry about like the Zelinskis or spending up a defender or whoever else, any of the Denmark forwards. So, I mean, when that happens, we're in Discord, telling people if we change our minds. So,
yeah, I think one of the big things was, so we had the Tunisia lineup, and that was like pretty much your entire team was sub 4K. Khazri wasn't in there, and you could pretty much get whoever you wanted from that team. They had a couple really cheap wing backs. They had Ben Slimani in there, who was figured to take set pieces. So we had all these options that would allow us to go high. And we're not always going to get that. That was the first match of the slate, so it made it a little easier to plug in our lineups like that. But I mean, we still have in this one. The reason I brought up was the Erickson point was we have something here to where I think there are two musts on this slate, and we have Kimmich and Kevin De Bruyne here in midfield. I think in cash games, those guys, no brainer, plug them into your cash lineups. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I don't even. Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't even give it much thought.
This is like, so Erickson was 10.5K today, as I believe a smaller favorite than what Germany and Belgium are in these matches. So you put that into the equation. De Bruyne more attacking already, so he has more upside probably than a Kimmich does, than Erickson at some extent there. So we throw that in there. These guys are cheaper than what we had with Erickson today. I'm just wondering, are these guys going to be as popular as we think they are? If Ericsson's only 65% in a spot like that, are these guys going to be? They should both be 80+%, but is there going to be? Are they going to be below that? It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still learning. We're still learning about the public, about how the public plays the World Cup, to see what they do. It almost seems like maybe they're just looking at the biggest favorite and plugging in as many guys as they can, like for France. So
yeah, you figure this time I would be, I'd expect them both to be 90%. Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do, really, is the thing. We'll
Right.
get into these other positions, but it's like, in terms of cash, what else are you going to do? Spain are the biggest favorite, and they're in the best spot, pretty good spot against Costa Rica. So, obviously Kimmich and De Bruyne are expensive, and you don't have any money on Spain yet. So that's I think people, I guess, could try to fit in a lot of Spain guys, but I don't know. I mean, I think one Spain guy is probably a must, whether it's Sarabia or Dani Olmo, whoever starts, whichever the left-footed set piece taker starts, I think you'll want to get him in. Even if it's Sarabia, like I would put him as the third midfielder, just Kimmich, De Bruyne, and Sarabia, and then I would go make my lineup.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of
I mean, we'll see. Like that's just my first thought. Like I haven't even looked at these other midfielders, but I mean, Sarabia is a pretty good play if he starts at 7,400. So I would want to do that.
That's kind of where I'm at. So the thing with forward is we have a mispriced, I guess, Batshuayi here, 6,100. He has the second best odds of scoring on the slate. Lukaku's out. Lukaku's 8,200. So basically, Batshuayi should be about 8K, and instead he's 6,100. And I think because of that, we're gonna see, he's gonna be over 50%. He's gonna be very popular. He's cheap. He allows you to go high at midfield. So I think you just lock him in. It's almost like it's kind of what we were saying with Harry Kane for yesterday's state. It's like, well, he's going to be so popular. He's, a central forward. He's second most likely to score on the slate. If he scores, maybe you're screwed. But you kind of want that piece. And like, where else are you going? That's the other part of it. Where else do you want to go for it? Because do you want to spend, if Murata starts, do you want to spend 7,800 on him and, maybe not get Sarabia or something like that in your utility? So it just seems like Batshuayi should be the first forward into your lineup.
Yeah, I think I agree. As funny as it sounds, he doesn't have much
Right.
of a floor, but he's cheap and yeah, good goal scoring odds. And in terms of forward, I don't, if there's no Dani Olmo, I don't think there's any forwards on this slate that take set pieces. And I don't think there's any with like a considerably high floor. I think some people, we've just seen what people do. Some people will see Murata if he starts as the only player on the slate that's favored to score, and they'll play him in cash.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. For 7,800, I don't think it's the worst play, but it's not something that I would do.
I actually like if Ferran Torres started. I actually like Torres more than Murata.
Yeah, that's okay too. But I don't think you're going to play any Germany forwards in cash, right?
No, they're all kind of too expensive. And I mean, the one thing, if you look through this Germany lineup, there are questions. We actually don't even know if Havertz is going to be the central striker here. Like, there's been rumors of Fulkrug starting up front for him, and without Timo Werner, who was their guy up front. But we'll see what this lineup looks like. I think Mueller is pretty set to start, but all these guys are a little too expensive.
Who takes pens for Germany?
Who takes pens for Germany? I assume, let me see. We got
I think with that lineup, it'd be either Gundogan or Mueller.
Yep.
Yeah, I just, that's something that I will check later. I'll say for tournaments especially, it's becoming pretty clear that you're going to want to play penalty kick takers. I mean, these are the softest penalties I've ever seen, and there's been like 4 or 5 of them already. That one on Lewandowski. Yeah. I mean, if you touch a guy's shirt, it's a penalty. I mean, we've seen a bunch of them on corner kicks already. You never would see those called in the Premier League. I mean, never. They don't even go to VAR. But
You say that, but there was like too late in the Denmark match where it's like, are they actually going to call these? And they didn't end up doing it,
I
which is
saw the
nice.
one
But
where that was the first time I'd seen the ref go to the screen and then wave it off. I mean, that
right,
one would have been ridiculous, though.
yeah, yeah, definitely something
So
worth
I don't know. I'm gonna
considering.
consider penalty kick takers more than I have in the past.
Yeah, again, we have the corner set piece and penalty taker articles on our site. You need a subscription for that, rotowire.com/soccer trial. But I mean, I could read off who's all taking the PKs right now, but we don't have to.
No.
So I will say for forward, there is a possibility we have a situation where it's so Junior Hoylett for Canada. He started in Canada's friendly a few days ago, and all the Canadian Twitter media was like, this guy is awesome on set pieces. We need him in the World Cup to take corners and set pieces for us. So it seems like he's going to start. And if he starts, he may actually have corners over Alphonso Davies. So that
Yeah.
is something to think about. But again, this is the third match we're talking about, and he's 7,100.
Have we heard anything more about Davies? Like, is he gonna start? I know
I'm,
they said
I'm,
like he's not quite 100%, but
I'm pretty sure he's going to start based off some
yeah, okay.
quotes.
That's what I thought too.
Mhm.
So then, like, I would pretty much expect him and Hoylett to split like almost 50-50. It just depends where the set piece is pretty much. So yeah, that's something to consider. I shouldn't have said there's no guys on here that take sets.
In terms of that, though, they are underdogs, and
Yeah,
split
7,100 for Hoylett is not something I would
right.
want to do in cash. This might sound kind of funny, but you could pay down at forward. There's not like many great options, but I don't really mind Jonathan David for 5,700. You just figure that he's gonna play 90 minutes, and he's their best chance to score, and he's gonna take shots. And I'm not sure. Maybe he takes penalties. I kind of think he would take penalties, unless Davies does.
It's
I don't
Davies.
know. It's Davies. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think it's the worst move. Like if there's nothing else at forward.
Would you prefer David over something cheaper like Maeda for Japan if he starts up front? Because he's
Oh,
3,800.
yeah, that might be better if you need the money, because like David's not a good cash player or anything. I didn't know there was someone like Maeda.
Yeah,
Um,
there are
he's
a
fine.
few Japan guys down here. It's just we'll
I
see what
mean, you
they're
saw what the Tunisia guys did today. That both guys under 3K scored 8 points, and I think they
yeah,
both scored 8 points actually.
floor points, right?
8 floor points, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of these
Because you need the money.
matchups, I think that these Japanese guys and these Canadian guys, they're all in play. Because I think these matches are going to be a little more up and down, a little more high scoring than. I mean, it shows in the odds here, but I want to point out that it feels like, maybe it doesn't feel like, but so the Spain Costa Rica match, this is like. You can compare it to Manchester City games in the Premier League. So Manchester City, 70, 80% possession. The other team gets two shots off, maybe something off of a counterattack, that kind of thing. That's kind of implied here in the odds. You can see the clean sheet, win percentage. Costa Rica implied goal total is 0.53. You're basically avoiding every Costa Rican player unless you consider their goalkeeper. Is that what you're kind of thinking too?
I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't even consider a Costa Rica player besides their keeper.
Mm-hmm.
You hit it on the head. It's like a Man City game right there.
Right. There's like, even though their guys are cheap, this is not like Tunisia against Denmark. This is Spain, who controls 70 plus
Right.
percent possession
Now they're not as
against.
good as normally they're not as good as scoring goals as like a Man City or Liverpool, but yeah, they
Right.
are gonna dominate that game in terms of possession.
Yeah. So we don't really have to talk about them until goalkeeper. So does anyone else actually stand out? I mean, we
No, I mean
mentioned the cheap
forward's the
guys is
weakest
not
spot.
much. Right.
Yeah. Forward's the weakest spot. So it's like Batshuayi and I don't know if you be able to get up to Ferran Torres, maybe. Danny Olmo, I would play for 7,600 if he starts.
Mm-hmm. So for midfield, we got De Bruyne, we got Kimmich, we got Sarabia. So I mean that's cash right there. That's cash. We don't. Does anything really have to be mentioned here? I actually
Are there
didn't.
any other good plays?
I didn't really look below here because it's like, what else? Why am I looking down here when I don't have to?
Right. So just looking at the favorites, Hazard's going to start. It seems like for 5K. That's more of a tournament play. But I don't know. What do you think?
Not Hazard. We saw him at 5K for Real Madrid, and people played him, and it was a bad idea. But I guess it's his
Right.
country, and I don't know.
That's my point. It's a good tournament play at that price, but I don't think you'd want to do that for cash.
I think for utility, you could look if you spent up maybe.
Let's just say Danny almost starts. Say Danny almost starts. So you're not going to play Sarabia. You're going to need somebody. You're going to need another mid.
I was still looking at a Spanish player because Pedri is 4,300 down here.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was going to bring up. So I think Pedri is the other guy you could consider in cash, just because he's 4,300. That's just too cheap.
Yeah, I mean he's maybe the third option on set pieces, but you don't even need him because he's 4,300. Spain are going to be in the attacking third the majority of the match, so he's going to get opportunities to make the score sheet. So you're getting him at 4,300.
Yeah, so look at that lineup. Who's first choice right-footed set taker? It's either him or Farron. Nobody else. It might be Pedri.
Yeah, I think it'd be for this lineup.
I gotta check out.
Jordi Alba.
Yeah, he's left-footed though. Sarabia is left-footed. Danny Olmo's left-footed. So Pedri might take a couple.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. I looked at a recent game where all those guys played, and Pedri.
It doesn't matter though.
Right.
Spain in tournaments in the last Euros, a bunch of guys would sort of take sets. Koke would take one here, Jordi Alba would take, but Sarabia usually takes a few at least, and same with Danny Olmo. Those are the two I'd be the most confident in.
Yeah. Okay, we mentioned Gundogan on PKs for Germany, 7,200, not in the cash conversation. So we got Carrasco for Belgium. People always, fall into this trap of Belgium wingbacks, and I think that was a big thing in Euros to where it backfired pretty much every game. I cannot take that route. I'm not going to consider Carrasco. I'm not going to consider Castagna if he starts. I don't think Trossard will start, but we'll see. So not considering those guys.
No, me either. Belgium wingbacks. Yeah. The first slate of Euros, Osmo won 100K with Thomas Meunier, who didn't start and came on and scored 2 goals in the second half. I don't know if you remember that. So that's what you need to know about Belgian wingbacks. That's how the main slate got won in the Euros 2 years ago.
Well, Meunier was projected to start and then he didn't start. But
that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, it's Teremi. Okay. Kubo.
Yeah, no, you're right. Belgium wingbacks. Castagna, I think, is a good tournament play at 4,700. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Kubo, maybe split roll set pieces for Japan. He's 4,800. I'm just reading names off here. I'm not saying they're.
That's not a bad price, actually. I thought he would be more. I thought he would be more expensive.
Yep. Buchanan, if he's on the wing for Canada, this is 4,500. That's kind of what. I don't want to go that far down here. Busquets, another Spanish guy, he's 3,500.
If we're talking cash, you just play Pedri.
I will point out, if we get this Spanish midfield, if Busquets and Rodri are both in there, you got to think Pedri is going to get a little more forward than both those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If that's the lineup, you got to like Pedri in tournaments for you too at that price.
Yeah, honestly, that'd almost be like an attacking midfield role for him if that's what it is. So
he's so good too.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. I know Koke played a lot in some of these recent matches, but I mean, this is just a hard thing to project. So we'll see what the lineups look like. Anything else you want to mention here? I guess Carlos, I'm just having on my screen, Carlos Soler may also start in the midfield. He's 6,400 for Spain.
Oh, he would probably take some of the sets if he
Yeah,
started, right?
yeah, he would
So
steal
yeah,
some for sure.
he'd be okay.
That's kind of it. Did I say Kamada already for 5,800?
Yeah, Kamada, he'll take at
Him and
least half the
Kubo.
sets, you'd think,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, if yeah, not for cash though.
right.
Tournaments is fine at that price.
All right. So for defender is interesting. Do
Defender's
you
interesting.
do you want to do you want to spend up at defender? And I'm not even talking Alfonso Davies at 7,500 because I don't
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So who do you mean then? Alba or Ram?
I would say yeah, Jordi
I
Alba
mean,
is there, and I mean you're looking at Carvajal as well, the other side of
yeah.
Spain. I don't know if I had to
I
go
don't know.
Raum
Like
though.
I haven't checked Germany set pieces when Kimmich and Ram play together. I mean, does he take any or no? Like that's something I need to know. Um, but even still, like I don't want to play Ram too though because it's the first game. I don't really want to lock up 5,700 just in case, like on like sort of a fringe play. That's just how I feel right now. I guess I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how he's been for like club. He's been kind of hit or miss. Like we don't know if he's actually going to get set pieces or not in what game.
Yeah,
When he does,
it's
like
not
he's
something I
awesome.
do.
Right, when he does,
Mm-hmm.
he's awesome. He's great, but do you want to rely on that? Probably not. Let me check what we have here. So Kimmich, Rom. I mean, it actually looks like they have been splitting. So
And like, so yeah, if I see that, and then if I look at the games and I see that Rom plays 90 minutes for Germany, because he sometimes doesn't for club. I don't know what was happening for Germany. Like, I don't know. You'd want to play. My point is, you'd want to play Rom if he plays 90 minutes and split sets. I mean, you'd want to play him.
yeah, because they also got Gunter in that role. Yeah, he has been getting subbed off a bit. When they're in that up and down 3-3 match against England, he was the defender to come off for Gnabry, maybe. Um, and actually came off for Gosens. So Gosens is another guy that can play there. Yeah, but
Yeah,
just going through the actual set pieces, like we have Kimmich 1, round 1, Kimmich 1, round 1, Kimmich 3, round 2, Kimmich 3, round 3,
so they're
Kimmich
kind of
3,
splitting.
round 2. Yeah, it's pretty much a split. So that's more of a split than I thought. So would you do you like him over Alba, or do you like him over like a Carvajal?
Mm,
It's still just worrying
I
because
like him over Carvajal,
you're paying for
but
maybe three corners and possibly 70 minutes is the issue. Like
I'll
you
tell
can
you what I
find
don't love. What I don't love after hearing that is, I mean, I didn't before, but 8,700 for Kimmich in tournaments. I mean,
no.
no chance. Like no chance for me. I mean, yeah, he can get an assist or whatever. He can have a good game, but I'm not gonna do that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm not sure what I was saying. But yeah, just in the compared to Bruyne and Kimmich, it was like De Bruyne has the upside. Kimmich doesn't really have the upside. You're playing those guys in cash games for their floors. Um, I think Jordan mentioned it in our Discord. Like a lot of these public people probably don't know the difference between playing in cash in tournaments, and they just plug in guys who they think are going to score. So Kimmich cash only basically at 8,700. So guess
Yep,
we have
for
to
me.
guess we have to clear that. Uh, so people aren't confused. Okay, let's go down here in the what I was looking at. We have the 60%, 61% clean sheet chance for Spain. If you go down, do you just go to the Spain center backs here?
Eric Garcia for 3,200.
Yep, we'd
Are
be
we?
looking at. I mean, obviously, it depends who starts, but we'd be looking at Garcia 3,200, Laporte 3,700, Torres 3,900. I will say because it's a second match, if you have Garcia and zero remaining salary, I would try to have a contingency plan for if that doesn't happen. So something to keep an eye on there. To like
Yeah,
who you would swap out, swap in if Garcia is not the starting center back. So.
definitely, definitely. That's a good point. You want to be paying attention to that a lot. Like part of what I was doing for this slate was seeing if I could have who was it? Who was the 3,800 Mexican Carlos Hernandez or today that might
Rodriguez,
have
yeah,
started
Rodriguez.
Carlos Rodriguez. Yeah, Carlos Rodriguez. Like I thought it was too risky to plan for him. Like it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. You definitely with these staggered starts, you got to plan for when your guys don't start.
Yeah, because the
Um,
guys who could possibly replace Rodriguez, like a Chavez, who was in there, I believe, instead
they're
of
all like
him.
thousands more, you know.
Right, right, right.
Um,
Otherwise, I don't think anything stands out down here, honestly.
um, yeah, I mean, Nicholas Sule is honest like that game's first, but honestly, he's probably a better play than Garcia for the same price, just because
You think for the goal upside?
yeah, he just has a much better chance to score a goal. I wouldn't like. I don't really want to lock that in for
Right.
3,300, but I don't think it's the worst play. Like, who? What else are you gonna do?
Well, you got Rudiger as well. If he starts, he's 3,500.
Oh yeah, another beast.
So
Yeah,
it'll be.
Garcia is probably who I would plan for. You also have this Nagatomo for 3,100, the fullback for Japan.
Yeah, I guess the early match too. So yeah,
3,100 fullback.
that's not terrible. It's not
Um,
terrible.
but maybe you want to spend up at one spot. I don't know.
If
I think you want to see lineups. This is another reason, like from the first game, you're just going to play Kimmich. I'm just going to play Kimmich. I'm almost for sure. And then you just have tons of flexibility. You know what you're, doesn't matter what the Spain lineup is, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, as we go down, if Mounier starts for some reason, now he's 4K, so I guess he's in range there. As we
Yeah,
were kind of as
you
we were
want to
kind of
play him for
bashing
4K.
him, but yeah.
You know what?
I-
Like, what about Alfonso Davies, 7,500?
Tournaments only, correct? I'm not playing him in that cash lineup, but yeah, I think I don't know. Do you want to get into just like how we think these matches are going to go a little bit?
Yeah,
So,
sure. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, just in terms of this Belgium Canada match, we look at this Belgian back line. If this is what we get, I mean, it's probably going to be something like this. Maybe someone swapped in, swapped out. We got like this DeBoss 19-year-old guy, and then we got two old former Premier League defenders that are not very fast. Belgium don't really have a good back line, a bit slow. Canada kind of focuses on counterattacks and speed with Davies and David, kind of Buchanan on the wing. I think both teams are going to get opportunities. I think there's going to be goals in this match. I think it's going to be up and down. Do you have any other thoughts right there?
No,
Going along with
I
that, like I think Adekugbe here for Canada usually plays on the wing for him. He's 4,400. I think he'd be a tournament play as well.
yeah, okay, yeah, I like that. Same with him and Buchanan. What are they similar priced? Let me see.
Buchanan's midfield only. Yeah, he's 4,500. So they're right
Oh,
in the same place.
the other guy's a forward.
Well, yeah, because Buchanan, I believe he's at
Who is it?
Bruges,
So I can
right?
see.
So
Yeah, at Bruges. Oh, he's a defender, 4,400. Oh, I see who you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Adekugbe.
Adekugbe. Yep, yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Has he scored any goals for Canada recently?
I'm,
I
probably.
mean,
I'll say probably. No. No, do you have any other thoughts on that?
no,
Or
I agree with you about that match. Spain is just going to dominate Costa Rica. Will they score goals? Who knows? Maybe. So don't want any Costa Rica. Definitely, I'm going to want Spain for tournaments, though, at least some. Then this Germany-Japan match. I'm not as excited about it as Belgium, Canada. I don't know what you think, but I think Japan will probably have a tough time scoring. I mean, Germany hasn't been as good as like we're used to thinking of them as. I still think Japan will have a tough time scoring. In Germany, you kind of never know which Germany you're going to get. I could see that game being, I don't know, slower paced, I guess, a little bit more cagey than the Belgium Canada game. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, there's been a lot of buzz about Japan, and I think I read into that as so Japan beat USA 2-0, I want to say, in the summer, where they kind of controlled the match and dominated them. And so I think that's a reason why we're seeing in like the US media that like, okay, Japan is a dark horse kind of a thing. Like they're playing well, they're a good team, and like they sure maybe they're playing well and playing better than they were in prior
Yeah,
World Cups, but this is Germany. I mean, I said at the top that this Germany team maybe doesn't have as much depth as we'd expect, but
they're
these are
still good, though. Look at those names. I mean,
these are
you
still
know,
good names. I mean, we look at
yeah.
what Japan had. I mean, I do like
Like, yeah,
Yoshida.
I don't want to undersell Germany here. I mean, they got
Yeah,
it. Their total is over 2. That game, while all the totals are of the 3 games are like very similar, the Germany Japan one is the highest. Yeah, so like, are Germany going to put a couple goals past Japan? Good chance.
um, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I like Yoshida and Tomiyasu and like Endo and Kamada. Like these guys, they are in real leagues. They do play in Europe, but
Yeah.
the German guys are better. uh, I mean, if this, I've never heard of this Miki Yamane right back that we have projected for Japan. It's just like these guys in here. Minamino couldn't find a spot at Liverpool, so this is still. So you got to think like a Kimmich and Gundogan midfield, and just like the attacking power that they have is still kind of puts them above. But I do think that Japan can score though. And I guess leading up to goalkeeper here, we have an underpriced Unai Simone for Spain at 5,600. I think I'm just going to plug him in at cash. He's 62% almost. I mean, we didn't have this extreme a situation on the first slate where Jordan wasn't going with Pickford there in the first match, but got to assume that we're playing Simone here for Spain, right?
Oh yeah, he's the third cash lock. Gotta be.
Yeah.
Um, Weird to say that about a keeper, but there's just not, really priorities after those midfielders. So yeah, absolutely. Got to play Simone, whatever you want to call him.
He's Spanish. You have a Spanish wife, Unai Simone.
Unai Simon.
Yeah, but it's just the confusing part is that he's only 5,600,
Yeah,
and
I can't. Why is he not 6K like Lloris today? What's going on?
there's no one on the slate above
It's
9,500,
like
and we're getting a $5,600 62% clean sheet goalkeeper. Like something
yeah, it
something
doesn't
messed
make
up
sense.
here.
Like yeah, he's a lock for cash.
I think if you don't pay up for him, I think you just go down to the bottom. You go to Keylor Navas. It's 3,600. Correct. Unless do you have any other thoughts on these other guys? Like, there's no reason to play the German, the Belgium goalkeepers. There's no reason for that. But
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
if you're not going to play him, probably just unregister cash.
ouch, hundred
You know what I
percent.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. In tournaments, though, even in tournaments, like it's almost like Simone or Navas. That's kind of what I'm feeling like.
In
Um,
tournaments?
yeah.
Uh
Depending what you use at forward. Like, I guess
yeah,
if you're
no,
using like three Spanish forwards, then don't
I
play
wouldn't say
Navas.
that. I wouldn't say that just because like there's a good chance he scores you only 10. What if that's not enough in the tournament?
Oh, you're talking Simone?
Yeah, I mean like yeah, he's a good play, but like another goalie could score 16, 18 and it might be hard for him to do that.
No, yeah, I'm saying like Navas
Oh, sorry.
is the other guy I would go to.
Oh, uh, if you don't have any Japan players in your lineup, definitely play some Neuer too. I would.
Neuer. Okay. Yeah. That
I mean,
yeah.
it's like I would want to play. Like, I just would hate to lose. You'd hate to lose if Neuer scores 20 and Simon scores 10 or 12 or something. I don't know. If you play multiple lineups, I'm usually going to play some of the other favorite keeper as well.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, cash pretty easy. How are we going to win the tournament? That's another question.
Um,
I almost think like
Fade Kimmich.
getting a couple Canada pieces, I think is something I want to do just based off of the Belgium lineup and kind of how they're playing.
Yep, I like that. I like Jonathan David. Those some of those 4K guys you mentioned are fine too. Yeah, I don't know what else. I mentioned fading Kimmich. That would be for someone like Musiala. Been in great form.
Yeah, Musiala is the cheapest of all those guys, by the way, so that has to
Yeah,
be mentioned.
yeah. Um, Probably want to play him. I mean, did you see what Jude Bellingham did? I mean, that was unfortunate too because he should have been a great play, but then everyone else smashed, and then Taremi got lucky. But
Yeah.
anyways, Bellingham was the star of the show.
Yeah, we talked about Spain, Manchester City earlier. While Spain don't have the Erling Haaland or the goal efficiency that Manchester City have, I mean, there's a chance that they win 4-0, they get 4 goals. So like you can just stack a few of those guys and hope that's the route that wins it. I mean,
Yeah, I like. Sorry, what did you say? Stack Spain? Is that what
yeah,
you said?
stack Spain.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a great call for tournaments. Yeah.
Granted, they do have the highest implied total, but it's not like
Still, people just don't like to do that stuff. I mean, there's other
no one
plays and
stands out though because the's not like an Mbappe on this slate or anything
right.
like that. There's not.
Spain have a bunch of guys that people don't like to roster.
Well, a lot of these people don't know anything about these guys though.
Right, but I mean like the non-public, which is more than half the field,
Yeah, yeah.
People don't love playing Morata and all of them actually. Whoever starts for Spain. I don't know.
I almost think the German guys will be more popular than the Spain guys in
Yeah,
tournaments.
I think I don't know on this slate. Maybe, yeah, maybe. What usually happens too is the popularity sort of goes down from one game to the second game to the third game on these staggered slates.
Yeah,
I
though
don't know.
I th- I think De Bruyne will be the most popular player. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
who
would.
else would
I
be
would.
above him.
Yeah, he's got to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely will be.
Yeah, so looking at Spain, I'd do something like this, Buchanan or Adekugbe with David or Davies or Davies is expensive, so I wonder how popular he's going to be. So maybe a decent tournament look. Like again, he's listed as a defender. He plays. This is not your Bayern Munich Alphonso Davies. Possible set pieces, possible PK, and he plays in an attacking role. Uh, so when you look at the 7,500 listed as a defender, it's because he is basically a forward. So
Right. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up. I like him for tournaments for sure.
yeah. All right, I think that's all we got here. Before we go, we got the France and Australia lineups. Pretty much no changes here. How do you think this match is going to go? I mean, we already mentioned all the Mbappe Griezmann talk, but do you think France are just going to romp here, or did the Saudi Arabia Argentina game throw you off the giant favorites?
Mm, yeah, sort of what we said yesterday about maybe wanting to fade France at some point, and it's not here. Like I don't 3-0 France is sort of what I'm thinking. Something along those lines. I know you think Australia might score. I could see it. They just don't really have much of an attack. But okay,
You've obviously
I
never
don't.
seen Matthew Leckie play with
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll
Mitchell
be proved
Duke and
wrong. I don't know. Like I didn't think you're right. I didn't think Saudi Arabia was going to do that. There's been a lot of surprises already, and wouldn't shock me if Australia get a penalty kick somehow either.
I'm just looking through the ages of all these guys. 7 of Australia's starters are at least 29 years old, including 5 of their 6 attacking players. But I
Man,
will, I will say for Australia, I think Hrustic, he's coming off an injury. He plays in Serie A, maybe their best player, but he's not starting. So that was one of the reasons why I would actually like Australia a little more, but he is on the bench.
France
So
are dealing with some injuries, I guess, and sort of a
mhm,
different midfield than they've had recently.
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. Go Dembele.
go Dembele. All right, there you go. That's who Ryan's gonna captain. But to use this cheat
It's
sheet,
not even necessarily about that. I got some chances in. I think I'll have some chances in the main slate if Dembele does anything.
I know I have one Dembele, but I don't know what else is in that lineup. But yeah, anyways,
Anyway,
this has
yeah.
been this has been what is it? Wednesdays. Discussion on Wednesday's 3-game slate for the World Cup at DraftKings. You can find Ryan at Ryan Belongia. I am at Zdroik. You can find all RotoWire stuff at RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. If you're not subscribed yet, rotowire.com/soccer trial, free 10-day trial. Again, we're getting a lot of new viewers on this cheat sheet. I mean, I know it's on the screen and everything on YouTube, but it has all of these. It has for all the slates. Like you can use this cheat sheet. You can get it for the showdowns. You can use it for everything. So there you go. Good luck to everyone. We'll be back. I think actually Jack Burkhart's going to be on the show tomorrow. So you guys will be back tomorrow for talk on, Thanksgiving. Talk on the Thanksgiving slate. So we're already there. But all right, Ryan, good luck. Good luck, everyone. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck, everybody.